All right, Maria, it's now time to start dealing with the weather stripping around your door. Now you have weather stripping on one side of the door. We have to remove that. We then want to install new weather stripping on both sides and across the header. So I want to start removing this metal weather stripping right here. All right, Maria, this is the weather stripping that I want to use around your door. It's actually a silicone weather stripping. It comes in a lot of different sizes and shapes depending on the gap that we need to fill around your door. Now, a lot of people think that weather stripping should be compressed really tight when the door closes, but that's wrong. It should be compressed about 65 to 85%. That makes a good energy seal and it allows the weather stripping to last longer. Now this weather stripping actually goes in a groove right here. This barb fits in a groove that has to go around the jamb. To make that groove, I'm going to use this tool right here. It's called a corner grooving tool. It's actually a router with a special tip, and the base is actually at a 45-degree angle, so the router sits in there perfectly. Now I'm ready to install the weather stripping into the groove, and I'm going to use the smaller bead on the hinge side. Then we're going to hang the door and check the space on the other side. The barb section fits right into the groove, holding the weather stripping into place. All right, that's the header. All right, you ready, Maria?
Ready.
All right, give it a try. Beautiful. Okay, drop it in. All right, now I'm going to close the door a little bit so I can get in here to put the bottom one in. All right, Maria, now what I want to do is I want to close the door on the weather stripping to see how it feels because I can't see it compress. And it feels pretty good. There wasn't a lot of tension on the door when I closed it. Next thing is I look at the gap that goes down this side of the door. And the gap looks pretty small all the way down to about 3/4 of the way down, then it gets a little bigger. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same size weather stripping on this side of the door and see how it seals.
All right.
Good. All right, now I want to go on the outside of the door and I want to close it, but I don't want to latch it, Maria. All right, now I want to close it. Now I can look at the space down the door and I can see the doors hitting the weather stripping until we get to a wider gap right there. It's not hitting the weather stripping. Now, Maria, I want you to latch the door. All right, when you latch the door now goes up against the weather stripping on the bottom, so the door is sealed. Great, we don't have to change the size of the weather stripping.